He thought it was just a joke. That was the first thought, the most natural reaction, when his phone buzzed in the dead of night with a notification he didn't recognize. It wasn't from any app he had ever installed, not from his email, not from the dozens of social feeds and reminders that cluttered his life. Just a black screen, a single line of text. You have 12 hours left to live. No sender, no number, no alert tone except for a strange low hum, like a distant refrigerator. The kind of sound you don't hear so much as feel. And like anyone else in his position, he laughed at first. Maybe it was a prank app, maybe a virus, maybe some dumb hacker trying to get a rise out of him. But there was something about the way the words sat there. The font wasn't one he recognized. Too thin, too sharp, like it wasn't meant to be read, but carved. He pressed the power button. The screen went dark. When it came back on, the message was still there. No way to swipe it away. No clear notification. Just that timer. Already ticking, already counting down. The words now read, 11:59:47 remaining. He locked the phone again, tossed it on the nightstand, tried to sleep, but sleep didn't come. There's something about knowing that a clock is running, whether you believe in it or not, that worms into the back of your mind. Every second, every breath, measured. And he found himself staring at the ceiling, at the shadows the headlights outside cast across his bedroom, and wondering, what if? What if this wasn't a joke? By morning, he had convinced himself it was nonsense. He showered, dressed, made coffee. The phone was still there, still glowing faintly when he picked it up. 9:32:10 remaining. He smirked, shook his head. Ridiculous. He shoved it into his pocket and left for work. But outside, something felt off. The street was quieter than usual. No cars pulling out of driveways, no neighbors on their morning routines. And as he walked past the bus stop, he noticed the people standing there weren't talking. They weren't looking at their phones or chatting or even shifting their weight. They were all staring at him. He blinked, unsettled, gave an awkward half-smile. Nobody moved. Not until the bus finally came hissing around the corner. The crowd shuffled on in silence, eyes still fixed on him until the doors closed and the bus rolled away. He told himself he was imagining things, just nerves, lack of sleep. But the thought crept in anyway. The countdown work was no comfort. His coworkers greeted him with tired smiles, but something in their eyes lingered too long. And when he sat down at his desk, he noticed his computer clock was wrong. It didn't match the wall clock or his watch. Instead, the numbers on screen matched his phone to the second. He closed the laptop. His hands were shaking. The hours dragged, and with them came incidents. A cup of coffee slipped from his coworker's hand and shattered at his feet, the scalding liquid spraying but somehow missing him completely. A light flickered above his desk, buzzing louder, louder, until it popped in a shower of glass that should have cut him open, but didn't. And every time when his heart stopped hammering long enough to glance at his phone, he saw the timer. Lower, lower, always lower. By midday, the fear was setting in. He tried calling friends. No answer. Tried texting his sister, the message wouldn't send. Even emails bounced back with cryptic errors. It was like the world was shrinking around him, like every connection was being severed one by one. And when he stepped outside, needing air, he realized the street was empty. No cars, no footsteps, no birds, just rows of windows with curtains half drawn and the faintest suggestion of faces pressed against the glass, watching. Panic rose. He walked faster, then ran. Block after block, every street the same, empty, silent, lined with houses whose occupants only ever appeared in glimpses. Eyes behind curtains, shapes too still to be alive. And then, the sound. It started faint like static, but as he ran, it grew clearer. Whispers, dozens of voices, layered, overlapping, all speaking words he couldn't understand. Not coming from any one place, but from everywhere at once. The cracks in the pavement, the trees overhead, the hollow air itself. By the time he stumbled back into his apartment, his breath ragged, the timer was down to 4 hours. He slammed the door, locked it, shoved a chair under the handle, and in the heavy silence that followed, he realized he wasn't alone. In the corner of the room stood a figure, not moving, not speaking, just standing. The light was dim, shadows pooling in every corner, but he could see enough. A tall shape, featureless except for the faint rise and fall of its chest. Breathing, slow, measured, like the ticking of a clock. He blinked, and it was gone. From then on, reality unraveled. The walls seemed closer than before. The floorboards creaked under invisible weight. Every mirror in the apartment warped his reflection, showing him older, thinner, eyes hollow. And the phone, always the phone, never left his sight. The timer, merciless, counting. 2:47:19, 2:06:44, 1:58:03. He wanted to smash it, but couldn't. His hand froze every time. The thought of destroying it somehow worse than watching it. When the final hour came, the world outside had vanished entirely. No city sounds, no hum of traffic, just silence so deep it pressed against his eardrums. He sat on the floor, phone in his lap, staring at the screen. 30 minutes, 20, 15, and then the whispers returned. Louder now, clearer, circling him like vultures, phrases threading together into meaning. Time is not borrowed. Time is not given. Time is taken. The room grew cold. Frost crept across the window glass. His breath fogged in the air, and in the reflection of the darkened TV screen, he saw them. Dozens of figures standing behind him, their faces pale, their eyes hollow. Every one of them watching the countdown. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The final seconds bled away. 3, 2, 1. The screen went black. And in the silence that followed, his apartment was empty. No phone, no man, just a faint echo, like a sigh, fading into nothing. They never found him, not his body, not his belongings. The apartment sat vacant, lease unpaid, dishes still in the sink, like he had simply expired. And every so often, when the place was quiet, when the lights flickered just so, a phone would buzz in the dark, a soft hum, a new notification, waiting for someone else to read it. Pause. Let the silence breathe. If you've made it this far, if you're still here in the dark with me, remember this. Time is fragile. Time is hungry. And when your phone buzzes tonight, you might want to think twice before you look. Because sometimes, The countdown doesn't start until you notice it. This has been another tale from Dark Whispers. If you want to hear more chilling stories, more whispers in the dark that slip beneath your skin, make sure to subscribe and stay with us, because the next story might already be waiting on your screen.